Hi guys, it's Kobe here, and in today's video, I'm actually going to do something a bit different from the usual tutorials that I do. I'm going to talk about Cinema 4D, and if you've not figured it out by now, you should know that tomorrow Cinema 4D Maxon will be doing the 3D motion show, and there are going to be some announcements, which is definitely going to include a new release of Cinema 4D. So this video is sort of coming to talk about what we hope will be in the new release or is going to be in the new release and the things we anticipate in the new release. So I decided to check on social media and other forums to check what people are saying about Maxon's new release that's going to come and what people are wishing should be in it, and through that try to see if I can make deduction as to what will actually be in the next release. And I think I figured out something which I'm going to tell you at the end of this video. And one thing people are actually hoping for is a real great improvement in the SIMA 4D particle system. I mean, to create, which personally I think they really need to look at. I mean, to create a basic particle system in SIMA 4D, you really have to go into all those complicated espresso notes and stuff, which is even very slow, and you can't do much with that as well. So people are actually thinking Cinema 4D might actually purchase either X particle or something and make it a part of Cinema 4D, which is not far from possible though, but it's very difficult. I mean, I don't see that happening, but I mean, nothing can happen. And also, there is a school of thought that because Cinema 4D now owns Red Giant and they have that powerful particle system, particularly in After Effects, people are assuming, I mean, with Red Giant and Cinema 4D collaborating, they can actually put some powerful particle system in Cinema 4D, or I mean, a lot of interesting things that they can do together. So that's one thing that really came up, which I think it's true. Cinema 4D needs to work on their particle system, and we are hoping to see an update or an upgrade in the particle system, and that works faster and can have a lot of things, particle moving and dynamic stuff in your scene without having to slow down your system. So the first thing that came up was particle system, and people are thinking my 4D might have X particle in it, but let's see how it goes. All right, at the end of the day, I'll show you, I'll tell you what I think is going to come and what will probably continue to be a dream. So the next thing that actually came up a bit more was rendering related stuff. So if you follow the 3D industry of late, there's been a lot of improvements or a lot of faster ways that you can actually render your scene. So for instance, Blender have the EV, which is like a real-time rendering, even though it's not like a retrace, but they are getting closer and closer because they keep working at it and stuff. I mean, Unreal engines and things are doing all those great stuff with real time. So people are anticipating that there could Cinema 4D should actually be able to work on their rendering system. And one thing that's coming up a bit more is it's most likely Cinema 4D. People are thinking Cinema 4D is going to have redshift in Cinema 4D, as in come with Cinema 4D out of the box, which I mean it's not far from possible. And also people are thinking redshift promised redshift RT, which is real time, and are thinking it probably might be in this particular update. So Cinema 4D is going to have redshift in this update with the redshift real time, or there should be an improvement in their viewport that you can actually have something closer to the EV or something a bit closer to real time, which also helps a bit. So people are actually anticipating that redshift will be in Cinema 4D, or there could be a way that you can actually could be a system that actually makes it work with Unreal to actually have a real-time engine. I mean, all those things are coming up. But I agree. I think Cinema 4D can actually improve on their rendering system and all those things. And it will really be nice to have redshift in Cinema 4D. At least that comes with Cinema 4D. So that was another thing that actually came up a lot. Also, another thing that people also talked about a bit more was a multi-threaded viewport enhancement or GPU enhancement that will be able to handle millions and billions of polygons in Cinema 4D, and even a multi-threaded system that will actually handle Cinema 4D dynamics. And the way to make Cinema 4D dynamics, like the cloth and soft body and all those dynamic system, work together so that you can have like some seamless flow with your Cinema 4D dynamic system and have a very fast viewport with lots of polygons in the scene. One thing that actually came up a bit more, which I agree, I think Cinema 4D can actually improve on their viewport and how fast things works in Cinema 4D. Cinema 4D can handle a lot of polygons, especially if um, it's in one like geometry, but like immediately you start spreading it out and stuff, it begins to slow down and all that. So I agree. I think Cinema 4D should actually improve on their viewport so that it can actually handle a lot of things in the scene. So that's one thing that came up a lot. The next was about the scene nodes, which people think it was a good thing. It's a good thing that they've started. Like, even though that's not what they were asking for, they needed some basic things, but still they've started, and it doesn't look bad. It's cool. So people are looking forward to the new features that will be in there, and what will be the new things about it. Because the last time it brought out, they weren't like specific that it's like production ready. I mean, it can do stuff, you can use it for production, but it wasn't guaranteed because they still think they are working on it, and some things probably can change in the future. Maybe the way things are arranged or even names and stuff probably can change because it was at its beginning stage, but it looks positive. And I agree. I think with the scene notes, actually looking at the way it works, it actually helps to handle a lot of geometry in the scene. So I think with the scene node, it can also help with the handling of geometries and stuff, polygons, a lot of polygons in the scene. So those are the things that also came up a bit more. Also, there were the usual demands of that applies to any update of any 3D application, like modeling improvements, which people actually spoke about. And people actually think because Cinema 4D has actually purchased a new sculpting app on, I think, iOS or something, like now they should find a way to inculcate it into Cinema 4D, so that like their sculpting will be a bit powerful and you know very solid. So that also came up. UV improvement, and people have issues with Cinema 4D's body paint. Actually believe it should have been the industry standard. Could have done all those 3D shading and UV unwrapping and everything, but now Substance has taken over, and people think Cinema 4D still have the potential to be able to bring it back and make it powerful again. Even though recently they've been actually also trying to improve in that aspect and even purchased a sort of UV related company or something of that sort as well. So that one too also came up a little bit. Even with animation, people were still asking for more, even though Cinema 4D's last release was a bit more focused on animation, and they did really well with a lot of improvements, and that the animators really appreciated it. But still, keep asking for more, and people still asking for a bit more of animation. Also shading, people asking for PBR shading and stuff. And actually people actually also wish there could be a way that there could be a search engine, search system for Cinema 4D materials that you can actually easily search for your material, especially if you have a huge scene where you have a lot of material and stuff. That also came up. And sketch and tunes, people think that one too, there could be a lot of improvement with sketch and tunes, and people are hoping with this update there should be those improvements with this update when it comes to sketch and tunes as well. So basically those were the things that actually came up a lot more. There are a lot of other things people were asking for due to things they've seen in probably other softwares and 3D stuff that they think will be cool to be have them in Cinema 4D. But basically the ones that dominated were the particle or fluid kind of system that will actually work in Cinema 4D. And the next was like rendering, powerful rendering system or real-time render, or even like real-time viewport render in Cinema 4D. Next was multi-threaded GPU or GPU enhancement support in Cinema 4D in the dynamics aspect and in viewport aspect as well, so that it can actually handle millions and billions of polygons. Also, modeling improvement stuff came up, UV improvement, animation even improvement, and material improvement, and sketch and tunes improvement. So those are the basic. There are a lot of other things that also came up, but these were the ones that people were actually talking about a lot more. So now let's go to my personal like view, or what I think will actually be in the coming updates, which is tomorrow. And this is not to say I have any info or anything, but from my deduction from other things and looking at the 3D terrain and industry and all that, how things are going, this is one thing I believe will be in this coming update of Cinema 4D. I believe, or I have a feeling, there is actually going to be something related to rendering. So it could either be redshift being in Cinema 4D, or there's going to be a massive improvement in Cinema 4D, like viewport rendering or something, or real-time rendering in Cinema 4D. I have a feeling this particular release of Cinema 4D, especially looking back in their release, like the last release or last couple of releases, it was related or animation related, and you can see now they're sort of focusing on one aspect at a time. So the last one was a bit more about animation, and they focused on animation. It was very nice improvement in animation. I have a feeling this particular release is going to be render centric, so it's going to be more of rendering related kind of things, so including probably real-time rendering, or even having redshift in Cinema 4D, or powerful viewport rendering like the EV in Blender and stuff like that. I have a positive and good feeling that that will definitely be in the coming release of Cinema 4D. The next thing is obvious. There's going to be massive improvement in the scene nodes. I mean, they started it with the R23, and I believe there's going to be a lot more improvements. It can do a lot more stuff with the scene node, and probably can handle a lot more of geometry. Those are the obvious things that I know that it will happen when it comes to the scene node. I know there's going to be a lot of improvement. But one thing which I don't know, I have no clue, but from my deduction, especially looking at this terrain and the way at which things are going, I have a feeling there's going to be something related to rendering, and it's going to be a very good in Cinema 4D. So that's my predictions, and I'll come back and do a video when the announcements are made, and I'll actually discuss what I think about them. And also, in during my research in this particular video, I actually found some sort of vibe around Cinema 4D, which I probably might discuss in other videos sometime, maybe later when everything is out and all that. I'll do a video on that. I'll entreat you to subscribe so that you get updates whenever I release any video. And if you think you like this video that I did, this kind of video talking about normal stuff, to like, share and subscribe, and let's have fun doing it. Very soon I'll be dropping more tutorials, and we keep going. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.